Hello viewers, my name is Moses Kawamala. I am an agricultural practitioner and agricultural scientist. In the practice, I do water harvesting for my clients, and also I do grow crops as an individual on my own farm. At this very moment, I want to talk about harvesting of water, especially of rain. The rains that we are receiving right now, it's already March. The season has started, I would say. Guidance from the ministry is already on that farmers have to start harvesting rather planting or growing their crops. I want to connect the rain season with the planting seasons. Right now we are receiving the rain, but a lot of it may go to waste, which is true. We often see a lot of areas flooding with water. The flood often comes from the runoff, which is not caught in given structures. When you go to the built-up areas, farm areas, or the hinterlands that are surrounding the city where our food comes from, a lot of rain goes to waste, but it's not late for real. We can have all the rain that is harvested into storage structures. As long as you have a catchment roof, you can install tankers to catch the water that is received, and then you store it for the future use. I think it is not only limited to built-up areas in the city areas or peri-urban areas. Even the countrysides have all got structures that can, or houses which can catch the rainfall. The moment we have gutters installed onto the roof system, the gutter can have very good outlets into the tanks so that the water is caught and stored for future use. Most times, it may be an excuse that, we don't have such structures, but it's not, we can't relent really. If the tankers have failed, then we can also have the ground storage structures or reservoirs. We can catch the running water. If we fail to catch the water from the catchment area of the roof, we can still harvest the running water, direct it well into the reservoirs. We can have the reservoirs constructed by manual structures built up by the hands. Let's not have any excuse that, the construction is very expensive, we need machines. No. In a given community, you can join hands and get a reservoir, a community reservoir, for instance. If an individual, you can't afford your own reservoir, then you can construct a community reservoir in thousands and thousands of liters. This goes especially to the areas in the cattle corridor. The cattle corridors, we have the central cattle corridor, the areas of Nakasongola, Nakaseke, Chankwanzi, Chiboga, Mubende, Rakai to the far south, and others. Areas in the Teso sub-region and the Karamoja sub-region still can also make use of the earthen water reservoirs, the dams. Those structures are very good at storing the water, and you'll see some structures maybe in the pictures that we shall show you that are holding the water, and the farmers are not relenting for loss of water during the rainy season. The structures can be, if you are a well-to-do person, you can hire a wheel loader to excavate your reservoir, and you have a very good source for your water in case you can afford it. You know, most times, I think these are not very new things to us, but we often forget maybe, or we cry when the water is not there, but they are very, very useful. Most plains, as I said earlier on, most of the plains in the Nakasongola and all the other cattle corridor places receive quite a lot of rainfall, but have nowhere to keep that water. And we know that most of those areas have no permanent water sources, streams kind of, or rivers. The only resource that we can make use of is a dam. They are useful for the cattle. They are useful for human, because we have seen human beings collecting water from those dams. And it's not bad anyway, because they are the only available resources that can be made use of. So let's make use of what we can, of what we have. Let's not see the water going to waste. We can have the water caught in those structures so that in times of scarcity, when the rain is no more, we fall back to the dams, fetch very good water that we can make use of at home for domestic consumption. We can also fetch for watering on a small scale vegetables that are essential for our nutrition. Sometimes the dams are may also lose the water, but then how do we ensure that the water is caught and lasts longer in the dam? Again, where the money can allow, we line the dam with a special material called a geomembrane or a dam liner. The dam liner prevents seepage of the water and prevents loss of the water due to seeping downwards. So that way that way all the water that is received in the dam at least is reserved there without any loss due to downward seepage. Just that, and it is just a small loss to the atmosphere that results due to evaporation, due to the heat from the sun heating the water, and then some loss. Of course, the cycle has to continue. We receive the water, but a lot of it goes back due to evapotranspiration, which is not a big problem. So, in the event that you have a dam, how can you use that water? Well, I said some water can be used for all the domestic consumption, drinking as well, But since the water is since the water source is an open one, you can always have some cleaning procedures to ensure that the water you're getting or collecting from the dam, which is an open source, is filtered to eliminate a lot of external materials that are not fit for consumption. Or you can boil it. Boiling is the most or the safest way of ensuring the cleanliness of that water which you have collected from the dam, so that you can drink it without any threat of health issues. Apart from domestic consumption, you can make use of the dam water for production. The cattle can be served from smaller containers away from the dam. I wouldn't encourage you to have the animals going to drink from the dam. It's dangerous because most times the dam is deep, so animals cannot always access it. But you can serve the animals from smaller containers. We have seen some of those containers, especially made out of or carved out of the wooden material, locally known as obwato. In Luganda, they are called obwato. All the herdsmen most times make use of them so that the animals can drink safely away from the dam, and the dam brims are also not spoiled due to frequency of animals walking in and out of the dam. Apart from livestock production, there are those that are not into livestock. The ordinary crop farmers can also make use of the dam water by watering their small backyard vegetable plots. For instance, you can have a plot of vegetables measuring 1 meter by any length. It's a practical one, which is not so expensive to maintain. You harvest the water from the dam by any container, put it in an ordinary jerry can. You may not bother with a watering can, which also costs money. The ordinary jerry can still be used for fetching the water and also manipulated for irrigating the water onto the small plot of vegetables, so that the family can have a balanced diet, not because they are rich, but they can afford the essential minerals, the essential vitamins that are supplied by the vegetables, like the amaranthus. Sukuma is the most common, sukuma wiki. It is the most common vegetable, resilient to the harsh environmental conditions, and you can harvest it piecemeal throughout the year. As long as you give it or you supply it with water, it can grow throughout the year, and the family can have vegetables enriching the diet with essential vitamins, essential minerals, so that malnutrition does not happen in the community. We have a dam, a very good dam, measuring 20 meters in length, and the width is 5 meters, and the depth is 2 meters, 0.5. So this dam is a very good resource that the farmer needs to have some water reserved for use during scarcity, when it has not rained. We know very well in those areas I talked about, the water corridors, it rains once, but when the water disappears, the farmers really suffer a lot. So we have this dam lined with a geomembrane of 1.5 millimeter. What does it take to have this structure in place? First of all, you need to identify the resource of land where you have to construct or excavate this dam. The land, of course, must be available for you to have the dam sited. Then, human resource. Earlier on, I told you that we can excavate this dam manually by use of the axe, by use of the pickaxe, ensururu, the hose, and the spades. Then, after excavation, it's not enough to stop at that. Though most farmers may stop at that, but the water may not last long in such a structure unless you line it with an impervious material, a material which cannot allow downward seepage of the water. Just like we can see here, the dam liner is an impervious material which can last for about 25 years. About 25 years without any issues, as long as it was not damaged, as long as there's no mechanical damage. It is ultraviolet treated so that the UV light does not damage it. So that way, you have to invest into a dam liner or a geomembrane, which will be used for covering up the dam, so that the water received can have a longer period standing in the dam. That way, you have cleaner water in the dam, because after being received from the catchment areas as runoff, of course, it goes through a series of filtration. There are a series of filters that are fitted along the channel which delivers the water into the dam, so that the sediment, actually we call them sediment bowls or sediment pans. Several of them are constructed along the channel which delivers the water into the dam. So all those sediment bowls or sediment pans are at different depth, so that the sediments or the sand or the soil which comes along with the runoff from the catchment area does not go into the dam. Alongside the sediment bowls or pans, there are also filters or mesh which eliminate smaller particles of soil, and by the time the water gets into the dam, it's relatively clean enough for consumption. by humans, by livestock, and also good enough for watering the crops without any issues with the well-being of the animals or the well-being of the human consumers. But I said for human consumption, of course, you have to observe sanitary procedures. Boiling the water before consumption, especially drinking. But for washing clothes, you can just wash without boiling. But for human consumption, drinking or cooking food, the water has to be filtered so that for rain materials, pathogens as well, which are waterborne and are a threat to human health, can be eliminated. The ordinary citizen, the ordinary mwana inchi, can have a reservoir at home. Reservoirs range from containers, small containers, like the barrels or drums of 200 liters, to bigger tanks of 10,000. There are smaller tanks as well, 1,000 liters, 2,000, 3,000, up to 20,000 liters, which are sold out at the hardware stores. So our judges in the villages, our judges in the countryside can also harvest the water using such containers. Besides that, besides the surface structures which can be used for harvesting the water, a small underground reservoir can also be constructed or dug so that the water from the roof can be channeled right into the underground reservoir. A small one, for instance, of 1,000 liters can be dug, just like the way how a pit is constructed or dug. The same way, the only and the water will be stored there. But the elderly judge may not access such a structure. The younger boys, the younger girls at home can fetch the water from such a hole carefully, with care, by use of plastic containers. We have seen also in our neighborhoods where there are underground wells. The same way the underground well is harvested is the same way such a reservoir can be harvested. You only have to take caution that the biggest part of the reservoir is covered off. Then a bucket or a jerry can, but they use most times buckets or open jerry cans which have been cut, and they are called shadoofs, by the way. They are called shadoofs. The same way the underground well is harvested using a shadoof is the same way this other reservoir, which was dug intentionally for harvesting the water, can be made use of. For those that cannot buy the tanks, you can dig the underground reservoir and you harvest it the same way using the open cut jerry cans or pails or buckets. The most important thing is getting the water out of the reservoir for your own use. Thank you. It is very wise for any farmer, not only modern farmer, any farmer, to harvest water and reserve or preserve it for future use. I think it is common knowledge that our weather or the climate has changed. We are receiving the rain, but it's not enough as it used to be in the olden days. We are receiving the rain when we are not expecting it sometimes. We are receiving the rain when we are not expecting it sometimes. Scientifically called unpredictable rains. We can't tell when it will rain, and sometimes, even when we receive it, sometimes we don't know how much we shall receive. So it is very wise for the farmer to harvest and preserve the water because of those two factors: unpredictability and also insufficiency. It comes, but we don't know how much we are receiving. Sometimes we receive too much, and from the too much, if you harvested, then you'll make use of it when it is no more, when the rain is no longer being received. The rain comes, but disappears very soon than we know. So the whole thing of climate change itself is a driver to any farmer to go into rainwater harvesting or water harvesting, so that it's a kind of an insurance that your crops, that your livestock will have access to water when you don't have any supplies from the natural rain or the natural precipitation. The challenges are obvious. It comes with costs. It comes with costs varying from the size of the reservoir you want to the installations that you have to put in place to get that water and deliver it to the targeted crops, the targeted animals, or for human consumption. If the well is too deep, you need to invest in a pump. But it is good that some pumps are affordable for real. There are solar pumps which you invest into once, and they will always serve you as long as the sun is shining. Besides, you can also invest in other pumps. There are gasoline pumps, which you have to part with some money always to fuel the pump. But there are also electric pumps, hydroelectric power pumps, which can serve well those who are close to the power grid. So those are some of the challenges that are faced in the process of water harvesting from various sources: underground reservoirs, underground aquifers, and rainwater harvested water, but you have to deliver the water maybe into the tower tanks, or the tanks that are held high on the towers, so that the water can come from the tower and directed to the gardens through pipes, which you also have to invest into, and you irrigate your crops. If someone is interested in a shallow well, those that are not so deep, and they want to harvest the underground resource of water, the cost varies also from place to place, and also varies according to the depth that has been dug. But on the average, it will cost you between 3 million Uganda shillings to have a complete shallow well, so that you can, so by that you know that you have a resource of water which you can access and have structures harvesting from that very well. I want to urge the farmers again to look to take the water resource as a very important factor, as a very important resource for production on their farms. However small, however big the farm may be, you need the water resource to ensure that your production unit keeps lively and functional. Personally, I am available for consultancy about the rainwater harvesting, about the underground water harvesting, to see that the farmer keeps into production, because it's not just a lifestyle, it's a business. It is a business that is equivalent to other businesses. So a farmer is employed by the farm. So if your employer is not in production, then you will not earn. So we need to take this into very serious consideration. Let's harvest the water. The rain is here. Let's catch it. Let's keep it into the available structures that we have discussed, so that we see our crops, we see our livestock doing well, and then we can earn from those production units. I am available always to the farmer who needs my services. We do all the activities regarding rainwater harvesting and underground water harvesting by any means, manual or mechanical, shallow wells and deep wells. Construction of the water reservoirs, the dams, the rainwater catchment structures, installing the gutters on buildings, installing the tanks on the buildings, so that all the water can be kept safe and made use of in future. I am available. My telephone contact is 0774 04 6765. Those that are outside the country of Uganda, you can always start with +256 774 04 6765. Also available on WhatsApp, available on Skype as Moses Kawamala. My email address is moseskawamara053@gmail.com. On Facebook, my page is Moses Kawamala. Always available to the farmer anytime for discussions and for engagement. Thank you very much. My main office is in Makerere Chikoni. That is Mwanga Close on Mwanga Apartments, 3rd floor, Suite 7. That is my physical place where you can catch me up. Thank you very much.